Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you today for joining me at Tai Chi MD. I've got two of my good friends and colleagues here today. Matt is the videographer, and Matt's going to be helping me to teach you Tai Chi. You know, one of the things about Tai Chi, of course, is the teacher and student, and so I think this is a great way to kind of learn it, seeing you teach, for you to see me teach Matt this. And so Matt's never seen or heard of this form before, so he's brand new. I did teach him the Yang form a number of years ago. But so Matt, this form, just so you know, is called, I can't really pronounce it right in Chinese, but it's Bafa Wubu. And so it's always hard to translate things in Chinese, honestly, English, but it roughly translates to 8 methods and 5 steps. Okay? And it was created by, I think I told you, a good friend of mine, colleague, and he taught me Tai Chi over 20 years ago. And I think it's pretty cool that in this day and age, people think of Chinese as this ancient martial art, which it most certainly is, but it continues to evolve, and it's an art form as well as a martial art. And so he relatively recently created this form, and really what was the main aspects behind driving him to make this form the way it is he wanted to make a form that you could learn if you're 9 years old or 90 years old, that you could do throughout your whole life, and that you can actually learn relatively quickly, because not everyone is a great martial artist, so most of the time people have their daily lives and work to do, so that you can learn this relatively quickly, but it still has the same benefits as the more traditional forms, and it actually stays true to the traditions of the original Tai Chi philosophy as well. Okay, so there'll be some, you'll probably notice some similarities to the Yang form that I taught you a while back, but it's still pretty different. The first half of the form is just purely standing. So the reason I like to teach this, to people like us, is if you're any kind of office worker, really, but particularly if you're like in our job where we're sitting in a chair, we're at a workstation, you can do this at your workstation. Okay, so it's incredibly helpful. The whole form actually takes very little space compared to almost any other Tai Chi form. But the first half, you just stand in one position. So if you wanted to, and you only had a small amount of time, you could just do the first half of the form standing in one place. And then the second half, you're actually taking steps. But even that's not too many steps. It's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps left, 2 steps right. So it's pretty confined. But like I said, even if you just have a minute and a half, you can just stand up from your workstation, because it's good to get up at least every hour if you can, and just do the standing part. Okay? All right, so let's begin. So, actually, we're in this beautiful setting. Matt's picked the viewpoint for us very nicely. We're in this beautiful setting, but honestly, grass and uneven ground is not what you really want to start learning on. But I'm sure we'll make do. But footwear, if you're at home and you have a warm workstation, you could just be barefoot, which is totally fine. But if you're wearing high shoes or something where you can't really feel the ground well, you probably want to take those off if you're going to be doing this. But if you're just doing the standing part, you can actually just not worry about it too. Just wear whatever you can. Okay, so put your feet together, start feet together. And a lot of this is posture. My posture is terrible, so doing Tai Chi always reminds me about my posture, especially if we're hunched over. So make sure you have your shoulders back. I always have to be conscious about my shoulders. So what is your proper starting posture? So your feet together, which immediately sort of like works on your balance. Literally standing still with your feet together is kind of hard. Arms by your side, and you want to imagine like your back is up against the wall, right? So your spine is totally straight. Your shoulders are back, but they're not, straight. So the whole time you want to relax. So your shoulders are in line with your hips, which are in line with your heels, just like that if you're standing against the wall. Okay. So you want to focus on your breathing throughout the whole thing, but so the first bit really gets you focused on your breathing right away. Okay. So as you take a breath in, imagine your breath going from like your belly button up to the top of your head. And while you're doing that, make it feel like you have a string pulling you from the top of your head up, like straightening up your spine while you breathe in. And you should take about breaths are about 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. Okay, take a deep breath in, feel like your spine lengthen out, then relax your breath. Okay? That's actually technically optional, but I really like it. So I tell people to do that. There's a lot of optional stuff I'm going to be teaching that I just kind of do myself that I like. But that's totally fine with Tai Chi. You're not getting graded. No one's watching you. Like, you know, no one's going to ding you for doing something not perfect. It's like, it's for you, so you do it the way you want. Everyone's different. Okay, so this first part, I'm just going to turn this away from the camera, but you can follow it. It's similar to what you learned before, okay? So I'm going to teach like the easiest way and then kind of make it more complex, okay? And you can just do the easiest way, but I've not really shown on my video yet kind of the more complex things you can do. So the easiest way is just to literally step out, okay? So that your feet are shoulder width apart, okay? So that's the easiest way. You literally just step out. Now, there's some challenge to that right away, because you look down at your toes and your toes should be lined up. As if you put like a yardstick, they should be lined up, okay? And if you're off, you know, you can already tell that your body sense is not where it quite should be, so just put your feet back together and just do it again. So your toes lined up when you step out, okay? One of the things that you want to do on the next step that'll keep your toes aligned is when you step out, look ahead, and your whole upper body should not move, okay? It should be completely still. And that way, your control is coming from your pelvis and your core. You literally just step out, okay? It's completely sideways. There's no motion forwards or backwards, okay? Now we're gonna do the next thing, which you probably remember, is when you shift your weight entirely onto your right leg, you bend it a little bit. Bend it up. It's only gonna be about 90% straight, so that all your weight shifts to your left leg, and then you step out, okay? So you gotta be more conscious about it, okay? So all the weight shifts to your right leg, you just bend it about 10%, take your upper body's completely still, then you just move it sideways. And then as you distribute your weight to 50-50, it's happening very gradually. It's like you're taking a dial and you're slowly changing from 100, 0 to 90, 10, 80, 20 until you're 50-50. So it's very gradual. Okay, so it's not just like stepping. It's you gradually put your weight. So you put your weight down on your toe, on your forefoot first, and then you settle. Okay. Okay. Now you don't have to do this, but the fancy stuff. If you want to do this a little bit more advanced, what you can do is you shift your weight onto your right leg entirely, bend it a little bit just like you did before. Lift up your knee a little higher. You just open up your hip 45 degrees, put it down, your toe down, and then redistribute, okay? That takes a lot more control, but it actually really works your core and your balance a lot more too. And then you don't do it like step by step, you do it more smoothly. Okay, but that's the more advanced thing. Initially, if you want to just keep good control, put your foot out, and then redistribute the weight gradually 50-50. That's all you need to do. But for those of you who may have done, Tai Chi forms before, you can open it like you do your favorite Tai Chi form, and just do it very smoothly. So you can do it that way as well. Okay. So now that we're standing, you got your feet shoulder width apart. Okay. Your knees are just a little bit bent, kind of give you balance. You never want your knees locked straight, right? This is that familiar opening stance. It's where your arms, you raise up your arms. Okay. Yep. Yeah, the ground's a little uneven. Raise up your arms, okay? So that your hands are at your shoulder height, and then you're going to lower them back down, okay? That's the basic move. Then let's add the breathing. So when you breathe in, when your arms go up, so it's about 3 seconds, 1, 2, 3, and then breathe out, you relax your arms, and they come back down, okay? All right, now, the thing that a lot of people don't realize, because you can't see it, is when you're doing Tai Chi, intention is super, super, super important, okay? You can tell when people haven't really been taught Tai Chi quite right, because when they're doing the moves, their moves are right, but like it kind of looks like they're just waving their arms in the air. There's no real intention to it. That's super important, because this is why Tai Chi as a meditative exercise is different from just regular meditation. You're supposed to really engage your mind, okay? And that's really important for like us, like you've been like intensively looking at things, trying to figure out tough problems, a tough case. You need to actually get your mind away from that. And the quickest way to do that, if you only got like 2 to 5 minutes, is you actually have to engage your mind in something else. Okay, rather than, I've tried to do like other meditative things with like, okay, have your mind wander, and it works for some people, it doesn't work for me. I mean, my mind is going back to that complicated case again. So doing this actually, these subtle, more complicated things engages your mind and takes you to that different place. So you can, you know, recharge your brain. And you know, I did that functional MRI study. I mean, you really activate specific parts of your brain. It's really actively engaging. It's not just mind wandering. Okay. All right. So this is part of that, like really engaging your mind and your body part. Okay, with the intention of what you're trying to do. When you first move your arms up, you actually think about your fingertips first. Okay. And it's almost like you're imagining it, you're thinking about it, and then it should just kind of happen. Magically, not magically of course, but like, so you feel like your fingertips are gonna start rising first, and then your wrist, and then your elbow, and then your shoulder, okay? And then you do the opposite. So Tai Chi is opposites and balances. So when you go down, you relax first, your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist, and your fingers. So I'm going to exaggerate it so you can see it. So your shoulders relax first. Shoulders relax first, then your elbow, then your wrist, then your fingers. So it goes back the opposite the other way. So shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers. Okay? And a nice analogy that, like if you're in the ocean or in the pool and your arms are up and you just kind of let them fall in the water, that's going to be how it feels like. So the simplest thing when you're starting is just, you know, breathe in and in 3 seconds raise up your arms, relatively straight, but you know, not completely locked, about 90% straight. And then just kind of relax on your way down and breathe out for 3 seconds. Okay, breathing's generally 3 minutes. Okay, all right. And if you want to take it to the next level, really engage your mind. Think about your fingers first, your wrists, your elbows, and your shoulders rising, and then the other way when you go down: shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers. Okay, and then when you come to rest down here, there should be a tiny bit of tension in your wrist with your palms pointing down. Okay, it should be a little bit farther back. Yeah, so at about the tops of your hips. Okay, but not back here. It's just a little bit in front. Okay? So it's just in front of your body, but about the height of your hips. And you're not like stressing your palms like down, but you should just have the slightest bit of tension so that your palms are facing down. It's not like this. Okay. All right, so let's do that again from the start. Okay, so just step out, however you want, settle. Okay, raise your arms. 1, 2, 3, breathe in, and then breathe out. Okay, so the next is the familiar kind of forming the ball, right, which almost every Tai Chi form just about has. So you're gonna start and form a ball to your right, okay? I'm going to do it to my right, then I'm going to do it to my left so that you can mirror me, okay? But so from here, you form a ball like this, okay? So this left hand goes to the bottom, and this right hand makes this half circle and goes to the top, okay? So I'll do it this way too. So you're here, you're going to go like this, okay? And I'm going to now do it on the left side so you can see it, right? So you can mirror me, okay? So one of the key things here is when you do this, your legs should be relatively still. They don't have to be stiff. I mean, it's not like you have to lock them into place, but really the turn comes from the torso. So it's super important with Tai Chi and us, you know, sitting in chairs or workstations still. This really helps to get that flexibility in your core. It actually strengthens your core, okay? So you go like this. So the turn, we're going to do clock faces like 10, 9, 3. You're going to turn to 9 o'clock. If you can't turn to 9 o'clock, turn to 10 o'clock. It doesn't matter, okay? But there's no real reason unless you're really super flexible or done this a long time to go more than 9 to 8. But, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could. But it's really just turn to 9 o'clock, okay? So from here, so see the waist rotation? Go this way. So or did you want me to?
I'm going to 3 o'clock.
Yeah, but I can. Well, you're going to your right, but I didn't know if you want me to mirror it and go to my other side.
That's
Okay. So from here, you just turn. Okay. Good. All right. So So relax the shoulder. Okay. The palms should be facing each other, and it should be out, but close to right. So I want you to do something. Okay. So put it right next to your body, so that you're touching your body. Okay. That's not what you're supposed to do. Now I want you to extend it out. Feel the strain on your body. It actually makes it harder. Okay. So you need to have it away from your body, because feel how it's working your obliques more. But it's not supposed to be out here, because then you start to lean over. You want to be out so that you activate your muscles here, but you're not. Your torso is supposed to just keep on this axis, right? You're not supposed to be leaning over. So this, whatever's comfortable is different from everybody. But yeah, that's good. If that's good for you, right? And just remember, keep that shoulder relaxed. It's a very common mistake to do that. Yeah. And that's the last thing you want when you've been using the mouse and the keyboard all the time, is just do that. So actively relaxing is actually really hard to do, but super important for us, because I've had like torticollis and everything too, right? So okay. So yep. So you form the ball. Okay. We'll go into the next one. This is, you might remember, familiar. You're going to, this arm comes forward, right? And this arm goes down to here by your hip. So it's similar to something you've learned before. Okay. And of course, when you do that while your waist is turning. Back to forward, back to 12 o'clock. Okay. And it's a little bit different when you learn forward. It's actually, hand up. Your forearm is the most forward part. Yeah, more or less. You don't have to exaggerate it. And this, perfect, right? Again, just above your hip, a little bit forward, and just the slightest bit of tension, but your palm should be facing down. Okay? So let's take it from here again. I'll do it this side so you can see, right? And if you can, it's not absolutely necessary, but again, adds to that special nuance. There should be a split second where the waist moves before the arms, because the movement should be initiated by your waist. This is nothing new to us, right? I mean, in all, like, how many sports do you do, right? Golf, tennis, baseball, where really, before your arms move, there's a split second where your waist, moves everything first. It's the same thing. That's where the power comes from, really, your waist, right? So from here, there'll be a split second where you start to move forward. I exaggerated. It almost shouldn't be noticeable, but then you move forward. Okay? Yep. And so this is a defensive move, right? I'm gonna kind of show some of the applications. Not that you should be really thinking about, trying to defend yourself doing this, because that's not relaxing, but it's part of this whole intention. And if you know how the move was intended to be used as a martial art, because Tai Chi is a martial art, it actually, you'll do the move more correctly. You really will. Okay, so form the ball again, and now move with your waist, and you're gonna push me, right? And if okay, right? Now, one more time. Okay, good. Right, yeah. And you can feel like that you have to use your waist when I push on you, right? Otherwise, you'd just be moving your arms, but yeah, right. The power really has to come from the waist. The other thing about this, since this is when I was pushing, what did you do? You sort of automatically, your body knows, it made like an arc. The strongest structure we have, right? Like domes and stuff. So let's do it one more time. Right, go. Yeah, see, good. You naturally form this arc. Okay, so it's not like you're trying to make this 90-degree. Right? Tai Chi is circles. There's no hard angles. So this natural arc is the way to go. But try to still kind of keep this posture. Yeah, one more time. Yeah, nice. And when you do it, it feels like you're actually moving me, because you are. Yeah. Okay. So that's move number one. So on the right side, you're from here. Okay. I'll do here now, right? Okay. Now the next move. Yep. Oh, you can actually stand a little bit higher. It all depends. I mean, if you really want to work your legs, you can bend your legs more, but there's no real need to. You can just keep them like 90% bent. Okay. So from here, you're gonna go. Just watch it. You're actually gonna go. You can either go to 12 o'clock and just go straight forward. It's the simpler thing. Or you can go a little bit farther to 1 o'clock. And so your hands go up and their palms are going to be facing each other. But your forward arm is going to be, so if I'm going left, I'm mirroring myself. So in this case, actually, so your left hand will actually be a little bit farther ahead, and your right will be a little bit farther back, okay? And the palms are facing each other. So from here, you're straight. You can either go straight ahead. The simple thing is just to move your hands forward, okay? And their palms are facing each other. And then you roll back, okay? Pull it back to that same point. Okay, right? So this is where, again, the intention of what you're trying to do is super important. See how your hands are? I'm going to show you the trick that's going to, you'll know your hand position. Grab. Okay, so I'm punching you, right? And now clamp my arm. Yeah, clamp like for real, okay? Oh. No, sorry, yeah, but like this, okay? All right, now do open palms. Yeah, as if you're just like doing this, okay? So this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Why you have to separate it. And notice how your palms are aligned? It's because you're clamping on my arm.
Yeah.
Now pull me all the way back, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so notice the distance between your hands always stayed the same because you've like latched onto my arm. Okay, now if you're trying to pull me off balance, what would you do? You wouldn't just pull me back like this, right? You pull me down. Yeah. You pull me towards your center of gravity, which is towards your hip. Okay, so one more time. This, and then pull. Right? Okay, but now keep your hands locked in. Yeah. Okay, so that way your hands aren't doing like this, you're not doing like this, right? Now I'll do it to you once. So it's like, boom. And the separation is actually technically probably one above and below the elbow, along the elbow, and then, okay, all right. And that, again, you never want to pull below your waist, because then you're off balance too.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you just pull to your hip, okay? So we were here, we'll keep it simple here and just do 12 o'clock. So your hands turn so the palms are facing each other. Yep, perfect. And I'm gonna do a little bit like this. And if you're imagine someone's arm in here, and the distance doesn't be perfect, but it's somebody's arm or leg, so it's not like this, right? And then if you're really locked onto somebody, relax a little bit, right? The distance will stay the same. Okay, so make sure you don't do like this or anything like that. You've got it here, and you pull it back, okay? And again, the movement starts from the waist, right? So if you want to emphasize it just a split second sooner, the waist to move, and then you come back, okay? And you pull to your hip. Don't go too low, just above your hip. Yeah, good, okay? Yeah. And your arms can stay out a little bit further too. You don't have to pull it that close. That way you don't mess with it, okay? Now, if you want to, instead of 12 o'clock, you can do a little bit further. Make it 1, okay? Because, you know, along with the balance of opposites and everything, there's this thing that sounds weird in Tai Chi, which is before you go in any direction, you go the other direction first. Which actually kind of makes sense. It's kind of like a backswing, right? You would never before you swing forward, you got to swing back, right? So this is like, before you go back, you have to go forward, and and you go a little bit to the right before you go left. What might the other way for you, right? So you can go a little bit past 12 if you want. It's optional, and then come back down. Okay. Yeah, good. And if you want, the other optional thing is again just for literally style points. But I mean, Tai Chi is supposed to be beautiful. Maybe I'll do it this way. So when you're here, when you move up, you want to make it a flow. So your palms face each other, you flow, and then when you move back, you can have it flow too. So, you know, they make this analogy of Tai Chi's like water. So I mean, if you want, you can make it flow as well. Okay. And what's the breathing with this? Okay. You breathe in. So we exhaled here, right? Breathe out. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The key is the breathing will control your movement, so you don't move them fast, okay? If you're moving too fast, you'll notice you're not breathing slowly enough. Because if it's in sync with your breathing, 1, 2, 3, that's the familiar kind of slow cadence that you see people do, because they're breathing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, okay? All right, so let's back to the beginning. We'll skip the breathe in, breathe out part, but yeah. Okay, you step out. Toes forward, looking forward, posture's good, arms up, breathe in, it out, right? Form the ball. Yep. All face each other and pull back, right? Okay, this is a cool move, but it's a little bit harder, okay? But it's a cool move. All right, so from here, you come up, so this you're still at 9 o'clock, okay? And then see how my palms are still facing each other, right? And there's that distance, right? They're not like this, okay? And then this hand comes up, and the blade of your hand contacts your wrist, okay? And then it's going to, how are we gonna do this? It's gonna the palm will flatten onto your other wrist, and you're gonna push forward, okay? So it's like this, basically. So you're down here, comes up, you contact, and then again the waist is moving the whole time, and you push forward. It's like a reinforced push. Okay, so if you're pushing me, if you didn't have this hand, your wrist would break, right? Yeah. So this is like to support your wrist, so you can push. Okay? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So basics again. So 90 degrees, right? Maybe like this about. Okay. So it came up, palms facing each other, right? Now waist starts to turn just a little bit, and then this hand, wrist connects to here. Okay, it's actually more this wrist. Okay, and then like true anatomical wrist. And then as you come forward, okay, a little bit too far forward. Or see how your shoulders came forward? You don't want to do that. You don't want to hunch up. Okay, and this is the pressure point. Okay. All right. So it's actually it's a very pretty move, right? It's okay. 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 All right. So you're down like here, right? You come up. Yep. And then this hand, I make them kind of big, but I make my movements bigger, but I like to do that. And then this hand connects, right? And then as you push forward, that's when this palm pushes against the rest of your wrist. Okay. So you don't just go clunk, right? It's a gradual thing. Yep. And then there's this arc again here, and don't go too far forward because you're not trying to punch. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Yeah. And if you do it right, feel the difference. Yeah. Otherwise, well, yeah. And so, again, this is a push, so it's not like you're going around doing this trying to defend yourself. So if you grab my arm, right, you pull me in, and let's say I didn't fall over completely. Now you let go and do the move. Yeah, right? Because someone will be close in. You're like, how the heck? This is not like a jab. Yeah. Right? You pull someone in and then you can push them away, right? Because they're close. Yeah. And of course you can use it close anything, but generally you don't want to be that close to somebody if you're trying to, you should be running away. But okay. So so we'll start here, right? Oh, yeah. You're mirroring me, right? Yeah. So wait a minute. Yeah, I'll do this side. You go back. Okay, arms come up. Good. Now, just as you start to turn your waist, the wrist connects to here. Flatten it and push forward. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can do it a variety of ways, but I've actually seen people do all sorts of. Some people are more vertical. Some people kind of make it more of an X. I like it more of an X because it looks nice with the arch. But I mean, I've seen it different ways. However you feel comfortable. Okay, so that's this move. The next one, the simplest way is you just turn your palms facing down, separate, pull back, straight back, go down, and then once you're just above your waist, you make an arc push forward. Okay? All right, so, I mean, this kind of makes sense, right? So, this simple one, you push down, someone's trying to grab you, right? You go ahead and, so you did this, right? Yeah. Separate, and like someone's trying to grab you, you push the arms down and then you counter, right? Okay? And so if you're actually trying to push someone away, how do you push someone? If you really want to push someone back, you don't push them like from here, right? You push at their center of gravity. So it's actually, you're low, and you can actually throw someone up in the air too. Okay, but it's it flows from you defend it, and then your arm's already down because you knock down their arms, and then you just push right. But this is an arc, okay? This one is an arc. It's not push down and then just push straight forward. It's an arc, okay? And you actually are doing a great job already, but just a little. The hands really need to be in perfect alignment. And I mean, you know, as you practice more. Because imagine if you're trying to push someone away and one hand is slightly more forward, it's not going to work. Yeah. Like, because you won't really be pushing with two hands. And two hands are a lot stronger than one, right? Yeah. So they really have to be aligned, okay? But little things to kind of focus on, right? Just body awareness and everything. Okay, so we're here, right? And if I do the, no, I do this very, yeah. You can move your palms, your hands a little bit forward, right? Palms forward, separate, go straight back, down, still in front of your body, and then nice arc forward, okay? Good. Now, when you go down, make sure you don't straighten out your arms too much. Keep them about this bend, right? And when you move up, they're the same, your arms don't change in length. So you're not like pushing this way. You're pushing, again, more with your core, right? Okay? Good. All right. So if you wanted to do this a little bit fancier, add a little bit more artistry to it. So after you do this, you can actually, if you want, I do like a little circle, and then that kind of use that momentum to separate my hands, and then go down and up. Once you start to learn Tai Chi really well, you can add little circles to everything. And unless you really know Tai Chi, you won't really notice people doing it. But if you do, you'll see people kind of do these little circular motions, like in their elbows, their wrists, and their waist, and everything. And it kind of all makes sense once you start to get to it. You can kind of like do a little circle. It kind of helps you to separate. So like before you separate, you're actually supposed to close a little bit. It's just like before you go right, you go left. Yeah. Before you go up, you go down. And actually before you open, you actually close a little bit more too. It's so you can, if you want from here, you can kind of close a little bit and then open. It kind of adds a little subtlety to everything. And actually, so in Tai Chi, you're always supposed to be moving. So you're like, oh, they kind of just stop there, it looked like. Then they break their motion, but no, there's little motions kind of still going inside. So like, if you want, before you separate, you can actually close a little bit first and then separate. It actually all helps to kind of generate chi and everything when you're doing your Tai Chi. So, we're here, right? Okay. Sorry, let's just go from the beginning again, okay? Because this is the first time you're learning this. So you step out, all right? Breathe in, breathe out, forward the ball, forward, up, back, right? Good. Okay. Now, it's kind of like this one where you can either go 12 o'clock or a little bit to 1 o'clock. Instead of your palms being open, you're gonna make fists. Okay? And so these fists aren't for like hitting, they're actually for like grabbing. So imagine you have a stick or a staff and you're grabbing it. Okay? So the front hand, the palm is up, and the bottom one is down. The palm is facing down. Okay, so it's not like this, it's like this. Okay? And just like you were holding onto a stick or a staff really tightly, but still relaxed, the distance never changes. You're not sliding up and down, pole or stick, okay, or staff. So then you're gonna pull down, okay? Good. All right. So instead of this, it's a grab, and then turn your waist slightly first, right? Then let's say that you're pulling towards that hip, a little distance away, right? But not next to it, because you gotta, you feel that, right? Tighten up right there. Don't go out so that you're good, okay? And this is actually, you could use this like if you're fighting with the staff and getting something behind you, but this is like a grab. So if you grab someone, you like pull them down, okay? Okay, so let's do it again. Grab, Right, well, just like grab my arm instead or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is unworkable because you're actually supposed to like grab your shirt.
Oh,
Just grab your shirt. Okay, and then so try with your arms first. Just by it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Right? Then waist now. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really the nice thing about this is this move. You know, you've done a few exercises now. Your waist, your torso are getting warmed up and everything. So when you're like this, you can really just kind of feel your waist turn first, right, and then move. Right. It's a good one to really emphasize. The motion comes from the waist first. Okay. So pull down. Okay. But otherwise, it's the same move as this one, right? It's either 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, and it's the same. You know, the distance must stay the same. It's not supposed to be more. Right? Okay. Now, waist comes from the torso. You're literally just staying in the same position, and all the power is coming from the torso, right? It's a pretty strong move. You can do this relaxed. You can put a little more up into it. If you're really tired, just you can keep it really relaxed. Or if you're, you know, first thing in the morning, you just had your coffee or whatever, you can, you know, put a little bit more up into it. Okay. If you want to be more advanced, what you can do is when you do this, you can do it simple, like you just grab and then turn. But you can also do like a little hook. So before you go down, you go up a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit more of an advancement. Yes, nice. Yeah. So instead of just straight down, you can, right? Because like, remember if you're trying to tug someone off balance, what do? You kind of jerk them, right?
Yeah.
You just don't. You do like a little jerk. That's the same thing. Kind of. But yeah. Again, just do it try to relax. But again, it's sort of engaging your mind. Like, oh, these little things, all these little things make it complex, but that's what makes it cool. Or else you could just do some other form of meditation. This is a meditative exercise. It really is. Okay, so from here, now I got the cover. All right. And then, oh yeah, actually the other thing I want to tell you, from here, if you want to as well, you can just simply do this, but again, another option is you can actually bring your hands in a little bit first, kind of like flowing, and then like this. It kind of helps to keep the fluidity of it. And since we're here, it actually kind of reminds me of hula. It really is kind of, there's actually some really interesting similarities, but you can actually, where you actually kind of, and your body kind of moves a little bit too, because it's not just moving your hands, it again comes from your whole core. Kind of close a little bit and then open a bit, and then like that. It kind of just keeps the motions going, the fluidity of the Tai Chi. So that's another kind of transition. If you want, instead of just this, you can just pull it in slightly, kind of like you're doing this, just slightly, and then back out. Yeah. And then grab. Yeah, you're good at it. Sorry. Yeah. It just is a sort of a transition move that kind of helps with that. Okay, so you're down here, right? Come up. And okay, let me make sure I'm doing that. Okay, so from this, you're down here, comes up again with the palms open. This is actually a pretty simple move. And then this, well, maybe not so simple. This front arm rotates out. Okay? Yeah, so the palm is facing out. And then when you do that, this hand, palm faces up. Okay? So when you come up, there's this synchronized movement. I did them separately, but you need to do them together. Where this arm rotates out, so the palm is facing forward. And this backhand rotates up, so the palm is facing up. But you're supposed to do them at the same time. Nice, yeah. And this feels a little weird. The way, hopefully it'll feel more natural, is this rotation starts by rotating your waist. So I'm gonna exaggerate it, but you know, instead of doing this, you do, so the waist turn, the waist turn actually like transfers into rotating your arms. Yeah, that's another thing, guys. It's a little more advanced. Instead of just turning waist, you can actually turn it back a little bit more. So there's a little bit of a wind up before you go forward. Again, you can actually do this with every single one of them, but I think it's really nice for this one, so I kind of exaggerate a little more personally. But if you don't exaggerate, you just, when you start to turn your waist, that turn activates this rotation. And then you keep this arc the same throughout. So this won't change, and you just turn your waist. Okay? So this palm is facing forward. Okay? You turn too much, it's okay. And because you're still facing forward. Okay? Relax your arms. Okay. Yep. All right, so we're back again. All right? And then turn. Oh, I'm gonna fix your form a little bit. Yep. And a little bit lower. This shouldn't be above your shoulder. Okay. Now, yeah. Now start turning. Right? Okay. And then you end here. Okay. And a little bit more like this. Yeah. It's like that. Kind of like your waiter and you're holding that. Don't put too much tension on it, but enough so that your palms is up. Okay. Good. And maybe a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit more open. Okay. And this is pretty obvious, right? It's a block. Right, so then, like I'm punching, you block, and then you strike. Okay. It's pretty simple. But there's no change in your upper body. Once it's like this, all the movement comes from your waist, okay? And you should still be facing forward. Don't over-rotate, right? Yeah, you should still be facing forward. Don't turn too much, right? So this stops here, okay? Good. And how much you do it's up to, everyone's built differently. So, I mean, you can do it a little bit more closed, you can do it a little more open. I like it a little bit more open. Technically, you're probably supposed to do a little more closed, but I like it a little bit more open, okay? So just kind of open up like chest, okay? And then your belly button should still be facing straight, okay? All right, so again, so here, right? Then turn the waist, rotate out, nice. And then keep this solid shape, and then just rotate the waist so you're facing forward, right? Okay. Nice. Okay. Now the next thing is the elbow. You make a fist and you turn it this way. You bring it in, but don't touch your chest. Okay. And then as you rotate forward, bring your arm will touch your forward. Okay. So let me show you. So just watch me real quick. So here. Okay. In real martial arts, your fist tends to would touch, so you can really generate force. But in Tai Chi, you actually don't want to touch your chest. It kind of short circuits things. So just keep it a little bit away, okay? And then, just like any elbow strike, the power comes from the waist, okay? And then your palm of this hand will just rest on your forearm here. If you want to make a sound with it, go for it, but you don't have to. Generally, you don't want to. Okay, so you just kind of like this. In the second part, when you're moving, like this is a warm-up, and then the second part when you're moving, there's actually so powerful moves. But this one, you just can do this, okay? Oh, actually, so this way, yeah. Oh, okay, good. All right, so where were we? Yep. The boom. So this, right? So, yep, like this, right? Okay. All right, now turn, right? And then turn your waist, right? And the elbows forward. Nice. You can do a little bit further back. Because if you're too far, you feel like you're already kind of scrunching it. So you can do like here. Yeah. And, everyone's arm is different. But the elbow's the power point is forward. And it doesn't have to be hot. It shouldn't, because you don't want to stretch it forward. It should be like your side forward. Right? You always imagine like whoever your target is the same size. Okay. Okay. Your body should be pretty straightforward, but here I actually like to turn a little bit more instead of being straightforward. And again, you're actually doing a really great job. I have a bad habit of my shoulders tend to get uneven when I'm doing this, but so you wanted to keep them even, but you're actually doing a great job. You're not making a mistake. That's something I catch myself. Okay. This next one is kind of cool. So from here, okay, this front hand goes up, and this bottom hand, which was a fist, or the inner one, hand opens up, this goes up, this goes down. Okay, and they swap. Okay? And then do this. Okay? So we were here, right? Okay. Hands open up. Right? And now the waist turns. And this hand, this shoulder comes forward. Left shoulder goes forward. Okay? And actually, if you were to imagine the power point is here. Okay, but this is like an arc. This is not a strike. It's a shoulder. It's like that. Okay, so it's actually it's not a strike down. People confuse it because your fist is pointing down. That's a strike down. It's not. It's actually like a shoulder. So you want to make like a nice arc here. Okay, and then this hand is next to your shoulder. It's not touching, but it's right next to it. It's actually to protect your shoulder in case someone's trying to punch you. You're just going to that in later. Okay? So it's kind of an awkward move. But from the elbow. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Elbow. Thanks. Front hand comes up, just goes down. Okay. And then it'll be like this. This one. Good. Okay? Yeah. It's just by your shoulder. And again, everyone's different. You don't want to go too far forward. Okay, but this is actually the shoulder. And don't do like me. I have a bad habit of like punching my shoulder forward. It's actually supposed to. Your shoulder's supposed to be forward, but to get it forward, you don't cheat by doing this. You do it by turning your waist. Feel that extra waist turn? Yeah. Okay. And that's like a. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's actually a shoulder. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's actually it. Okay. And then you do the exact same thing to the other side, right? For balance. Okay. So you do the right side, right? Like this. So if I was doing the right side, instead of forming the ball on the right, you form the ball on the left. And you just start over on the left hand side. Okay. So you do. You do everything on the right. Okay, and then this last move, right? You'll just form the ball on the left, and then just do everything on the left-hand side. Exact same thing. Of course, as we all know, doing just something on the other side is not as easy as it sounds.
Yeah.
But that's the idea. Okay, so you do everything left. Now, that would just be the first part. And if you only do that, just standing at your workstation, if you only got like a minute and a half, that should only take you a minute to a minute and a half, depending on this. And if you can, and the phone hasn't rung again yet, you can just do the same thing a second time, and I can almost guarantee you it'll take you a little bit longer because your breathing has calmed down, you become more relaxed, and then literally when you're counting 1, 2, 3, it's slower because you're just more relaxed. So even though it's a short form, you can always just make it longer by doing it twice in a row. Okay. Now the next part, which I haven't shown on my channel stepwise yet, is the steps. Okay, so those were the 8, there's 8 methods and then the 5 steps, or stances, but they kind of move. Okay, so the arms, fortunately, you already learned. You just need to learn the steps now, okay? So after you've done the last one of them, so let's say you went to the right. Okay, maybe this way, right? Oh yeah, I forgot to show you, like, on this, when the elbow, do the elbow. I don't care whichever elbow you want. Yeah, like this, right? This is the purpose of the move. Let's say I grab your wrist, do the move. Where you go, do the move. Yeah, see? Yeah. Right. And actually, so if I do the other way, and I grab your front wrist, go the other way. Yeah. So if you want to practice, you can go forward, you go backward. But this circle, and like you can put a little flair with your hands to make it look fluid. But if you grab me on foot, boom, and if you grab my back arm, my hands, I go straight. So why is this important? Why is the intention of this? A wrong way to do this, people, they make these big circles. Like if I grab you, and you do a big circle, you don't hit my wrist. It's like, no, that's not going to do anything, right? So you're trying to hit the wrist. So these circles are relatively tight. They're not touching, but you're trying to hit someone's wrist. So these are relatively tight circles. These big circles is a move, but it's a different one. They're blocks. They're not breaks from someone grabbing you. Okay. All right. So the next thing is actually kind of similar to the yang, the steps. Okay. So after you make the move, so from here. Okay. So you're here. Okay. You finished here. You make a ball, but making a ball is a little more complicated because this top hand, of course, it's Tai Chi, so it has to be hard, right? So this top hand goes to the bottom and makes a circle and comes back on top of the invisible. Yeah, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so you're here, this hand goes down, this hand comes up, and you form the ball again. Okay? So you're here, you shift your weight back, you form the ball. Okay. And then the way you learn this first is you got to be really, you can actually hurt yourself doing this. So if you're not wearing like shoes that you could be stable with, don't do this, or just take them off. The first, you take your back foot and you bring it to your heel or your instep of your front foot. Okay? This whole time you're standing straight up. Okay? And then you rotate out your hip and you put your foot forward, straight forward, and then you gradually shift your weight. It's either 50-50 or maybe 60-40. You can put a little bit of weight forward if you want. Okay? When you do this, make sure your knee, your ankle, and your toe are all in one line so you don't hurt yourself. Okay? And make sure your knee never goes past your toe, or else you put a tremendous amount of stress underneath it. Right? Okay? So when you're first learning to stay stable, okay, again, you're like here, you're forward, you lean back, and you form the ball. I know this is a little weird, but this hand goes down, this one goes up. So they change positions, and then they make a complete circle. Okay? And then when you're carrying the ball, you bring your foot to your other one. Okay, the back half, don't bring it to the front, the back half. Then rotate out your hip, good. Step forward with your heel first. So all the weight's here still, right?
Yeah.
And your body's still upright. And then you gradually move the weight from 100% on this leg to either 50-50 or 60% on this front leg, okay? And it's very important how you transfer the weight. The weight just doesn't go from foot to foot.
Yeah.
You have to feel the weight transfer through your core, through your pelvis and the heart, okay? So you should feel the weight transfer from here, okay? All right, try that one more time. Just the transfer of weight, okay. Yeah. See if you just transfer to like one foot to the other.
Yeah.
If I were pushing you, at some point I would just push you over. Yeah. But if you're transferring your weight through your center of gravity, you can stay balanced even while I'm pushing you, right? Yeah. Because if you just did a quick transfer of one foot to the other, at some point someone pushes you, you hop over. Okay. Now don't have to trans yet, but so when you actually finally are doing it, you can just start to spend less time bringing your foot up and then putting it down to the point where you never even touch the ground. Okay, and then you put it down. So just gradually sort of less and less assistance with this intermediate step to the point where you're not even putting your foot down anymore. Okay? Okay, so when you're doing it, once you've mastered it, and I wouldn't necessarily say I've mastered it, see how my hip is? The movement is not really coming from your hip joint per se. Imagine like, I don't know about rugby, but like in soccer, when you're gonna kick the ball as far as you can, you don't just move like your hip joint, right? I mean, you cock, and do like this, right? So it's the same thing. You're actually moving from here. It's not just your hip. Okay, so literally when you're back like this, if you wanted to, you could just put it right back. You should have that much control. Okay? Then when you move your hip forward to put your foot forward, it's actually your pelvis rotating forward. It's not just all coming from your hip joint. Okay? So you're really working. See how you have to really strengthen those pelvic muscles. It's super good for you. Okay? So you form the ball. Don't lean forward, okay? Because if you lean forward, you're going to put a lot of stress on your knee. If you're doing this right, your body's upright. So if you start to put less and less, if when you're trying to transition to not putting your foot down at all, you're leaning forward, don't do it anymore. Go back to, making sure you're totally upright. But then you should be able to have complete control. You can even put your foot back if you wanted to, right? And then notice how this is really coming from my pelvis, right? So when your knee is about here, and your knee's lined up, neutral, then you rotate out your hip, put your heel down, and then the weight starts to transfer through your okay? It takes time it's actually a really hard move, actually. Okay? So once you do that, well, the first move was this, right? So you form the ball, we did this, we rotate it out, we put our step down, and then as you start to transfer your weight and turn your hip, it's that first move, right? Okay, all right, so let's do it again. You're facing forward. So we did this, right? Well, I'll do this way for you, right? Yeah. Okay. Actually, I always do that. So I can't do that one. There's always that one direction for me, so you just have to. Okay, so you put your weight back. Okay. Bring your foot forward. Turn out your hip. Put your. Oh no. Feet totally forward. Yeah. And so, yeah, if when you're first starting, just do like you did, just a small one. There's no need to like do this monstrous forward stance, but it's actually technically a little bit longer. But when you're first starting, yeah, just do almost like a box. But as you get further on, you can make it a little bit longer, and then, boom. Remember how this first move was that? Yep, it's that. Okay. Yeah. So it's like boom. Right. Hip foot forward. Good. Maybe a little bit wider, just a tiny bit. So, with your stances, they should never overlap because you're unbalanced. But this is actually a fairly narrow stance. Technically, it's like one fist width apart. So there's a little bit of width, but not a lot. Okay. Yep. And then you're like this. It's that very first move. Okay. And then it's 2 steps forward. So from here, shift your weight back. Oh no. So actually, your foot stays the same. Your other leg will move up. So your front leg moves up. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So it's your front leg moves. Your heel comes up. Oh, sorry. Your toe comes up. So you're on your heel. All depends. Really, all the weight should be on your back leg. When you're first learning, you can put as much weight on your back leg as you want to stay stable. Okay. And then same thing. Make the ball. Step forward. And boom. So it's the same thing. All right. One side, make the ball the other side. Okay. And then when you're here, you go back 2 steps to give yourself symmetry. And what's the next move when you're standing? It's this one, right? So you're going to do this moving back. Okay. So grab forward, and this is a little tricky. Okay. So when you step back, when you're first learning again, take an intermediate step where your foot is next to your other foot, and then take a step back. Okay. But once you're doing this for real, you can just actually stay away. Yeah, so it'd be this way. After the second step backwards, you do like this, and then as you come back, okay. So it's that same pullback. Now, I think we're running out of time, so I'm going to do the next one so you can just see it. All right? As this arms come up, this foot comes in, right? And then you step to the side, totally aside. And then this is actually a hard, fast move. Go. You actually do this quite fast. And so this foot comes up, not touching, but next to, close, but not touching. It's the front foot. And you're actually supposed to stamp down with your whole foot. And that power transfers up from your leg, upper pelvis, and up through your spine. Go for it. And that's that same reinforced push. So when you do this reinforced push, a mistake is to go out like this, right? There's no power. You actually keep it close without touching, right? And so the move would be, boom. Okay. So you do like this, and then your palms go up, separate them, and then I'll go this way so you can see. Then you, again, take another step to the side, heel up, and then the weight transfers forward. And instead of pushing down and up, this is more of a straight push. Okay? And then at the last 10% of your push, make sure you don't do this. This heel comes up, and you bring it's a toe. It's a little bit farther back though. Yeah. Okay? And then this foot moves first. You turn it, so it's facing forward. Your heel comes down, and this foot moves as well.
So when you're doing that move, you'll just keep practicing. You'll know where to bring up this back foot, because when you turn like this, your toes will be lined up. It just takes practice. Yeah. But you're like, where do I put this foot? It's when you turn like this, back forward, your toes will be lined up. Okay? So you push like this, boom, boom. Hands are forward like this. Then they go back. Again, palm facing. You step out again, and you do that reinforced push again to the side. Okay? Then you do the same thing. Palms up, you separate. Take a step forward with your heel first. Double push. Good. Okay? Then you turn forward. Again, if your feet have been right, you just may have to practice your toes will be aligned. This is now going 2 steps back. Okay? Grab, take a step back, and then gradually shift your weight, and you go through your waist again. Okay? And most of the weight is on your back leg as you pull someone back theoretically. Okay? Raise your arms up again. At 3 o'clock. Take another step back. And again, you can intermediate when you're learning. Just go here first and then back. And then later on, you just get that pull back again. Okay? Now this is the next familiar move. Bring your feet up together, and this is palms facing each other. And for this one, this is that move again, except for the step gets a little tricky. You're actually gonna step with your leg, yeah, like that. Okay? And then you turn. Okay? And then 3 o'clock again. Then you step forward again. Okay? Good. You can bend your knees a little bit more, give you more balance, but your body should be straight up. You turn again. Okay? Now this is a good test of balance. When you're about here, your hand turns straight up. Here, I'll show you over here. Your hand straight up. Okay? This fist chambers, kind of like in a lot of martial arts, right? Okay? So you're like this. It's a little awkward, but if you get it right, it's good balance. And then you pick up your back foot, and you show this awesome display of balance. You lift it up without, being totally still. Put your foot next to each other, and you'll be a little bit of an angle. Then you take a step forward with your heel first, and then this is the elbow strike. And you use the momentum of your waist turning to get that. It should all be, so from here, it's all this momentum coming from your waist turning. Okay? And you're standing about 90% upright, okay? A little bit of knee bend for the balance. Then you put your foot out about 45 degrees. Again, make this nice arc in your stance. And then that's that shoulder, right? Okay? Make sure again, knee, ankle, and foot are all aligned so you don't hurt them. And again, you don't have to be weight forward. I'd say about 60% of your weight is on your forward leg. Back straight, shoulders back, okay? It's a bad habit to do like this or something like that. And even when you go down, everything's still in alignment. To keep that alignment even when you're going down. Okay? It takes a lot of core strength. Okay? And then from here, you'll go back the other way. So here, you transfer your weight this way, then this way, and then you actually, let me make sure I did this right. Alright, let me make sure. Then, okay, so you're like this now, and then you do the shoulder strike. The other side, actually it'll be your left, because you did right the first time. That way, this will be left. So you were here. Sorry, it's like this. It'll be this front hand, which is this one. And then, good, yeah. And then same thing as before, where you step out. Yeah, good. And then back shoulder. Good. Yep. Nice. Relax a little bit. And this is actually in a line. This fist will be above the knee, above the ankle. It's all one beautiful plane. Okay, shoulders. Yeah. Good. Nice. Okay. Right. Okay. And then from here is the last and possibly the hardest thing. Okay, is actually, so here, you bring this foot in, right foot in, and then it's like, of course at the end they really test your balance, right? So this hand is actually like this, okay? And it should be in front of your body, not like right about here, and your knee should be up. This is perfectly fine. If you want more style points, you can like point your toe, but it's not necessary, okay? Yeah, after all of it, like they make you test your balance, right? And then you put everything down, it's here, and then you do the same thing to the other side. You can hold this for 2-3 seconds, whatever you feel like. Okay, and then put the foot down. Yeah. You can actually close however you want. Lots of different ways to close. The easiest way, of course, is then just bring your left foot back to the right. You're done. Other ways to close that you can do if you want is you can actually, again, emphasize your balance and work your core and spend more time doing it. So you transfer all your weight to the right and your hip is still facing forward, and then you bring it in. You actually open it up and then bring it in. So it'll look like this, like this. And this like emphasizes your control of your hip muscles. And you can actually kind of bring it in and then bring forward and then redistribute weight. Another thing that's really nice too, that is, I like to close this way too, is to, gather your chi. So before you put your legs together, first, raise up your hands like this, okay? Come to about just above like your sternum level, then push down to about this level, right about your belly button, which is where something called the dantian is. It's where like your source of your chi is. Then do it another time. You'll do a total of 3 times, but this time go about to the level of your eyebrows, okay? And then push down to about that same level again. And the third and final time, go up a little bit higher, just above the top of your head, and then do it one more time, okay? And then put one hand in front of the other and put it so that you're covering your belly button or just below it, okay? And then you can bring it in. So a lot of nuances there. All right, so that was like like a month's worth of instruction in like one morning. Right. But hopefully it's helpful in a lot of different nuances I kind of added, because a lot of the fun with Tai Chi is you see people practicing parts and stuff. It looks like they're doing the exact same thing, because they are. Because when you're in a group, you need to stay in sync with everybody. But if you're doing it by yourself, you can add all sorts of artistic nuances, things that make you feel the chi more, things that make you more fluid, transitions. And like I said, there's no horrible way to do this. Just don't hurt yourself. No one's grading you or anything. But especially when you start to move, just take those intermediate steps. Stay as long as you never really have to ever completely never take your foot off the ground. You could just always use this intermediate step. There's nothing wrong with it. Transfer your weight slowly, and always make sure your knee, your ankle, and your foot always line up, or else you could hurt your knee. Yeah. And if you only ever do the standing part, it actually is really beneficial. I mean, you felt how much it worked your core, and it gave you flexibility instead of just sitting there, make sure your posture's right and everything. Okay, thanks to Matt. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right.